Oh, they are. They have a great guy.
They are.
Check, we're just checking the sound.
Good. I'm
Doing
gonna
that.
text Jake.
The boys that get those.
I just love this.
We
Involved.
even easier if we
No, it's good.
have
They, Melinda said she
Jay,
could talk to you.
No, we can't. Jay has to show
unless
up.
they do.
He told me he was coming.
Right there.
But what if
Oh, okay.
it goes through on the phone?
Somewhere.
I'm gonna see if Jake's calling. Otherwise, I'll make Derek be on the phone for 2 hours.
I won't say that. I intend on saying.
However you want.
I don't either, but.
So if you just want to give the floor to Mary Ann.
Yes.
Hey, Jake. Good to see you. Good to see you. How's farming?
Okay. Do you want Jake to call me or you?
We can do either way. I think my battery's good.
Okay. Oh, never mind. He's calling me.
Okay.
Are you there?
And is Derek gonna call in on that one?
Yeah, I'll have him call you.
Okay.
We could try it during the meeting. It'd be bad.
Oh, you good.
Okay, I'm gonna just put you down for a minute, okay? I'm not ready to start.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then this one is a new one. The medical assistant.
Okay.
The page will talk through that. It's just not in.
Yeah.
here.
She's gonna have to.
What have you?
Was it working?
Right. Oh, we're still on. Still got time.
Actually got tractors out in the field. today.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Stressful. Get everything done. Not near as hard to run in school though.
It all depends on the day.
Yeah. I bet.
There's another person. It's a new one from what's on there.
Okay.
Did you go on and look?
No, I just,
How do you come to these meetings then?
I have to remember to breathe some days. Today was one. I had 2 semi-loads ahead. I'm scrambling between rush hour traffic and trying to get tractors going. And yeah, there's
Yeah,
just,
it's busy.
it's all I can do. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so glad to have your help with stuff. So I'm sure I can ask you when I get lost.
Okay.
Um,
Go to. That's going to be the motion.
This whole thing, or
Well,
just this?
the top part too, there's some words you, if you read through that.
Okay, right here. Okay. And then read this whole thing? Always.
It has,
And Brandon's here from Holly Troxel as we go through that as well.
Okay.
Second row.
I have my glasses on. I can't see through them. It's only in front of me. Okay. You're gonna have to
All we have to do is.
Is it on here, right here? On election resolution?
This is the actual.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Got it right here.
Okay. Are we ready? Is it good,
We're-
Gina?
It's good on the sound, yes.
Okay. Still there, Jake? You there?
Yep, we're here.
Okay. We ready?
Yes.
All right, welcome, everyone. We are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. We want to excuse Mr. Moore. He's going to be calling in a minute. And Mr. Dempsey is on the phone with us from, where are you, Jake?
St. Louis today.
There you go. All right, with that being, let's begin. We need to amend the agenda. Cindy, I'm going to let you make
I
that
move that
motion.
we amend the agenda to add on the student trips request letter E, FCCLA culinary arts trip.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Do we have any signed-in visitors that want to speak?
No.
Perfect.
I'll make
Thank
sure
you.
nobody just signed it.
Do we need to-
Oh, yes, we do need to approve the agenda. I would entertain a motion for that.
I move that we approve the agenda.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Let's move on to discussion items. First off, we are going to recognize our girls' basketball team for the spectacular season that they've had, and kind of excited to see what will happen next year too, because they're all just still little kind of baby chickens. But I'm gonna turn the time over to Coach Blackwell. Thanks for being here, girls.
Okay, good evening, Board of Trustees, school administrators, and Dr. B. On behalf of Middleton Girls Basketball Program and Coach Blackwell and Coach Rowe, thanks for giving us the opportunity to share a few things about our season this year. First and foremost, we want to express our deepest gratitude for all the support you've given our program. We couldn't be prouder to represent Middleton, and that pride stems from our incredible support system we have in our school and community. Knowing that so many people are cheering for us and rooting for our success motivates us every day. It truly means the world to us. This season, we set high expectations for ourselves, not just as individual players, but as a team. Our goal was to always give our best effort, no matter what the circumstances, and we worked hard every single day to achieve that. Along the way, we created countless memories together, and that's something our coaches have always emphasized. It's bigger than basketball. The relationships we've built, the lessons we've learned, and the moments we've shared are what makes this journey so special. We also knew that without each other, our goals couldn't be achieved. Coach always reminded us that greatness doesn't come from taking days off. It comes from learning how to handle hard things better. And we embraced that. Even though our season didn't end the way we hoped, we learned an important life lesson. Sometimes, no matter how hard we work, you may fall short of a goal, but that doesn't mean you give up. It means you keep going, keep believing, and keep putting in the work, because tomorrow and next season isn't too far away. Despite the challenges, this season was filled with so many memorable moments, and we'd like to share some of those with you tonight. We put together a slideshow to give you a small glimpse into the incredible times we shared as a team. These moments are a testament to hard work, dedication, and love we have for the program and each other. Thank you again for your unwavering support. It's because of you that we're able to grow, not only as athletes, but as individuals. We are so proud to call Middleton home and can't wait to continue representing our school and community with pride. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes, fantastic.
Mrs. Murphy, would you mind pulling that line behind you? I think we're gonna have a glare a little bit, and then we'll get this video started. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, hold on. There we go.
This is just another from the runner-up. And this is just another from the runner-up. Just to say what's up, just to let you know I ain't giving up. Have a good summer and I wish you luck, cause the next season I'll be back. And I'm running from the top, I'll take it back and put it right back where it's supposed to be at. Double team stats, few charges beat that game. The same mentality, new game day. Excellence is earned, quitting's not okay. From the get-go, I don't chase O's. I just crush goals like district champs with district gold. Middleton broke the mold, hard work and discipline pays the road. Hey, I stay driven, fights on a mission. Breaks like on 6 men, just a freshman. I'm on this beat like player of the year. And if you don't know me, you can call me Zoe. Yeah, you know we dominate the whole season. Culture to believe it, just us the reason. You only average 26 when we face off. Baseline, no jumper, no sneak shot, no layup. This is just a letter from the runner-up. This is just a letter from the runner-up. This is just a letter from the runner-up. This is just a letter from the runner-up.
This is Snake Down. I just made a stupid mistake on the
Hustle down the court like some lady fights. Only got one senior, but we done alright. Yeah, we done alright. And we got a couple cousins and we keep them pride. Holding down statewide with that Viking pride. High expectations from the coaches. Equals hard to handle for the opponents. Climbing back to the throne, you can quote it. No off season for the goated. And this is just a letter from the runner-up. This is just a letter from the runner-up. This is just a letter from the runner-up. This is just a letter from the runner-up.
What I said to my family, I will fight for you forever, no matter what. And again, I didn't do what I wanted to do tonight. And yeah, I was putting to myself and I'm proud because this is the best I've ever felt. This is the best I've ever felt. And I just had to do it tonight. I'll do it next time.
This is just a letter from the runner-up.
Thank you, you guys. We do want to get a picture of this deal, so I'm gonna go down and take a picture.
Oh, we are?
Yes.
Oh, I hate. We got the solar.
Get a picture.
Thank you.
Oh.
One, two, three. One for my. Right, there we go.
Thanks, guys.
Good job.
Do that. All right.
Perfect, thank you.
Let's move on to our student field trips.
Oh, that's, I guess that's me. No, that's me.
That's you.
You look at me. I'm actually gonna turn the floor over to either Mr. Hollinger or the advisor for these groups. So I guess starting, we've got DECA and Innovation Diploma, and that'd be D, if you wanna, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
You'll just let us know which of the two you're talking about as we.
I got a little nervous after hearing Zoe's speech. Yeah, I'll put him on the spot. You guys want to, this is DECA, a few members from DECA.
Leadership members right here. Yeah, I was here last year actually for our international trip. I'm sure you guys remember.
And if you can just say what DECA is, because not everybody knows.
DECA is, so it's our business club at the school. Basically, we compete in a bunch of competitive events, partaking to business. So Ethan, Carla, and I have all done our different events 3 years in a row now. So this will be our third year going to nationals, all three of us. And I feel like it's really brought us together, especially like the three of us, like it's a family. It's great. I love it. Our competition, it's always hard, it's always fun, but it's really a great experience. I feel like everyone should be able to have, and nationals is one of the best parts of it.
Awesome.
Very
So our trip is April 25th through 30th in Orlando. That's where the International Career Development Conference is this year. Carla will be presenting an international business plan that she's put together, and Wyatt will be participating in a business services role play. Ethan, an innovation plan, and some leadership conferences. So we're excited for these guys, and we've got a good group. It's been fun to have these seniors that have done this for 3 years now. So.
That's amazing. I
Great.
hope you knock it out of the park.
This year's gonna be a year. We're going down to
You
Big
should, you got nothing to lose,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Very good. Any questions?
Okay. Want to talk about the innovation
Sure.
group?
So our, Wyatt is also part of my innovations class, innovation diploma. We started this program last year. I'm glad I said yes to teaching this class when Mr. Gee asked for volunteers, because it's been a lot of fun. And so Wyatt is part of the group. We've got 2 groups of students going to present their innovation, basically innovation plans at Design Tech High School. Well, it's actually the Oracle campus, but our high school's right there. We're going to present those. We've been working with Design Tech High School in this program. They've been helping us along the way with design reviews. We've gone through 3 design reviews where they present their innovative projects, how they've gone out and researched and gotten feedback from community members, stakeholders, and how they're able to, put this project together. We've got to be doing a project on 3D printing, and they've built some pretty cool machines with recycling water bottles to create 3D printer filament, which isn't totally new, but they're using it in some innovative ways to create some new products. And we've got a group that's just last week presented at the city council meeting to try. They're wanting to create a mural in Middleton on the topic of human trafficking.
Oh, wow, very cool.
So anyway, it's an opportunity and hopefully something that can help build our program too.
I think another thing with this innovation summit that they're heading to, this is organized through the Design Tech High School on the Oracle campus in California, but this is going to be bringing students from all over the world, actually. So it'll be I know there's people coming from Brazil, there's people coming from Eastern Asia. It's a pretty neat opportunity for our students to participate in.
Very cool opportunity. Thank you for facilitating that. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Any other questions?
That's great.
No, can't wait to hear about it.
Yes, please,
Awesome.
when you're done, we would love for you to come back and report to us. Just tell us how it went.
I'm hoping this guy will come back with some glass.
With some hardware?
That's what they call deck of glass, the first,
There you go. Very
All
good.
right, yeah.
Very good.
All right, thanks, guys.
Best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Mr. Hollinger, I didn't see, were you here the whole time?
No, he just got
I was gonna say, that was amazing. You wanna give us some information about the State Leadership Conference?
Yeah, and you guys upgraded. I think 20 years ago, when I started here, I didn't get to like click.
Well, we're trying to be innovative. We're keeping up with the group there.
So, yeah, our FFA group has our state convention in Twin Falls. We're looking at about 25 to 30 kids. Have myself, Mr. Wilson, Ms. Casser will be going, and Ms. Spangler, so there's our chaperones. I also have a student teacher with me this year, Ms. Henning, so she's gonna be graduating from the U of I here in May. They have quite a few different contests they're doing. They're doing horse judging, hopefully win this year. We've got a floral design team. They even have an ag ed contest. So if you want to be an ag teacher, you can enter the ag ed contest. We have 2 or 3 kids that are interested in doing that. So we've had probably 3 or 4 students that have went on to become ag teachers of the program since I've been here. And we have 2 more that are graduating, that are doing their student teaching right now, that are graduating from U of I. So that's kind of a neat thing to do. They missed 2 days of school. We'll miss Wednesday and Thursday, and then we'll be down there Friday. We'll head home Saturday. So it's a busy event.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Questions?
I just wanted to say that I went to that same convention every year, I think 4 years, and made quite an impact on me. I think that's a great opportunity for these kids.
Yeah, the diversity that the FFA programs have taken on now is immense. It's not just your regular cows and plows and ag mechanics and stuff. There's literally speeches, contests, all sorts of different things. So kids usually do pretty well at them. So we're excited to go.
Very good. Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for letting us go.
Mhm.
And then you'll take the other 2?
Yep.
The Hollingers?
Okay, so, I talk about FCCLA first, is that okay? Going to get out of order, but it lines up better with, the student organizations. So FCCLA, that's, Family, Career, and then I always forget Community Leaders of America.
Thank you.
It's their state convention and leadership conference as well. It's in Boise. It'll be Jack's Urban Meeting Place, downtown Boise.
Okay.
So it's mostly culinary students. We only have 4. We have 4 going this year. That program is growing quite a bit, though, and so I imagine in the years to come, there will be more students going in the future. So yeah, it's April 16th. They'll be there.
So in reality, it's home ec expanded?
Yes, they don't really call it home ec anymore.
I'm hitting myself.
Yes, and the biggest focus in the high school for us has been the culinary program. So this has been special kids, and so we've seen that lots of interest in that.
Perfect.
Any questions about FCCLA?
Mm-mm.
Is there, oh, never mind. I'm looking at a different one, excuse me.
All right, so I'm pulling up my information on the other one. Mr. Madison started to do it tonight. So the drama club is going on a trip. In fact, they were invited to go on this trip to Pocatello to see a group called the West Side Players. They visited them multiple times in the past, and they really liked Middleton drama, and so they invited them to kind of this special, it's almost like a field trip. So they will meet with this group. It's like a community theater, which Mr. Madison said most of our students, that's kind of the sort of theater that they will go into after high school. But there's a tech side of it that they'll check out, like their lighting side of things, costuming, the set construction, sound design, all those sorts of things. And then they'll be able to see 2 shows as well while they're there. Mr. Madison recognized that it was not ideal to come back on a Sunday. He didn't like that, but he did get permission from all the parents and everybody going that would be the case. And they just felt like it was safer in terms of traveling with Sunday morning. So they'll be back on Sunday morning.
Any questions?
No, I just like his field trip policies.
Yeah, his packet was very thorough. He doesn't.
I think we need to look at
that. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Just tell him he's invited to come help us write some more
Yeah.
policies. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
I think I might have to stay up here.
You do, and I just wanted to say one other thing that, speaking of policy in terms of our trips, I do think it's something that I would like to recommend we bring to the board, that some of these competitions that our clubs do, which we want to make sure that the board is aware of these trips, but some of these that happen year after year, perhaps we lump those into a group that wouldn't necessarily have to present every year, so that it's not the same, like for something like the leadership conference. It's similar to going to state competition for some of our athletic groups. We don't have them come though and request that permission. So I think for some of those that are just an annual thing that we go to every year, we might want to look at lumping that together so that it's approved when we're approving calendars and things like that, rather than a special thing. And then when they have special events that they're going to, that would be outside of that, we'd have them come.
No, I think
Makes
that
sense.
is- Yeah.
Perfect. So the next thing, just so you're aware, for the next two items, Paige Goodson would be normally doing that, but she had to take care of an emergency. And so Mr. Hollinger will be taking on the first part, and then I'll be taking the next.
All right.
So I apologize, this won't be as smooth as page. It was a little last minute, but I'll do my best here. First course is, as you see up there, Applied Mathematics for CTE. This will especially happen at the, this is a combined MHS Middleton Academy request. We are going to, the students will need to be enrolled in a CTE pathway. The place we specifically think this is going to be utilized is in our construction class, because we are going to integrate the class into that construction course that will have a new CTE, sorry, Mark. What do we call it?
The career campus, Middleton Career Campus.
Middleton Career Campus, the construction. So that's where that will be especially utilized this first year. You saw the prerequisites and things, but it'll be a lot of just hands-on math that they'll use. They'll just, like I said, it'll be integrated within that course.
Very good.
The next one, technical and professional English for CTE. This will, it's similar to the math one, it'll be integrated in the course with the construction class. The goal is to also have this at the high school in English for CTE, like it's like a technical writing class at the high school. And it's sort of those students that are in the level 2 or level 3 of the CTE pathway, they would take this class as well. And that would fulfill their English requirements.
Good idea.
It's looking like it'll probably be their junior and senior years, ideally, the way we would do that.
If I could just interrupt to talk a little bit about this, so you have a picture of what this might look like at our construction campus over here. The students that are participating there would come over that for the morning of their class, of all their classes that day. So if they're in this level 2, level 3 construction class, they would start their day. If they're at the high school or the academy, they would start their day in the construction building. And there they would be doing construction of their different projects and skills that they're learning, but they would also have instruction in the CTE math, the CTE language arts, but it would be all built in. So there wouldn't necessarily be going from class to class, period to period, but that whole block of time would count for their construction coursework as well as their math and English coursework. And so they would be done, let's say a high school student that was taking that course would come to the construction campus that we're building. They would be there for the morning. They'd get credits for 4 classes, just like they would if they were attending at the high school. And then either if they've driven themselves, they'll drive back to the high school, or we will shuttle them back to the high school for the remainder of their classwork that day. But they'll come away with their construction coursework and their English and math requirements for that year.
And skills.
And the skills that come along with that. So it's a pretty exciting way that we've not done here in Middleton. So I think it's a neat opportunity, and that's with teachers from our high school, teachers from our academy, and our construction teachers. So just wanted to make sure that kind of how that all fit together.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's very good.
So, and then
Oh, this one's exciting. The sports officiating class.
There's a shortage.
So yeah, this is, like it says there, the hope is to help students gain the knowledge and skills to become the sports officials. We specifically, we're looking at football, soccer, volleyball, basketball, baseball, softball. So, and we'll have them do the concussion course, the sudden cardiac arrest courses, all those things that are required for IHSA officials and NFHS officials.
So, question about that. is that something that you could gear and get them equipped and they pass, then they could possibly go officiate at the middle school?
Yes, that is the plan, is that we have
That
them,
would
they can
be-
leave with those like certifications essentially to go officiate. Yep.
That's-
And that would help with a lot of our youth leagues as well.
Oh,
And so
absolutely.
there.
And, yeah, partner with all the recs around here.
They wouldn't have to be 18 to do that.
Not for the rec department.
Mm-mm.
No.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, so this next one is it's sort of, our yearbook is growing. In fact, today, our yearbook actually got an award from Walsworth, the publishing company, a distinguished yearbook award for the yearbook they're working on right now. So our yearbook continues to improve and grow. And so there's been demand for more opportunity to work on the yearbook. And so this proposal is that we have a yearbook 2 class. Right now, we just have 1 yearbook class. We'd like to add a 2nd class that's more advanced. So the editors of the yearbook refer that. Oh, Elise, did you want to talk about it? You're here. You can talk about it. Your advisor's here. Is there anything you can add to that? Is that okay?
Yes.
Advisor's here.
I mean, that's not a good, it's mostly like a leadership group that would have an extra hour to meet. And they could also be in yearbook 1 and like helping lead those beginner kids. But then they would specifically have this yearbook 2 where we could get like much more in depth and much more advanced.
Well, and you just have a revolving cycle of leadership, right? That's the idea. I like
So
that.
the editors would be in there.
Training.
Yeah, just more opportunity to just continue to make that. The thing I like about yearbook is they are taking these like skills that they've learned in the other classes and applying them to a product that is consumed by thousands of people and picked apart. And so if they mess up, but yearbook, they do a really good job.
Mhm.
On it. So it's yearbook 2.
Thank you.
Okay, so this one, and Elise, I may ask for your help on this one a little bit as well, because this is, again, in your department. Elise is our fine arts department. So Art One, we wanted just to kind of expand a bit on Art One. Elise, what else would you add for this one for us?
I mean, that's basically it. It's to expand Art One. So specifically freshmen, we could take it other years, but it's more geared for freshmen. Like if they want to take the full year of Art One, they can. And we'll just kind of expand on what we did in the first semester, but maybe get a bit deeper and try some other media, like maybe try more paint and more ceramics and things like that for their first year of art.
And part of this is we realize we need more elective options. That's why you've seen this year. And I'll kind of talk about why that is in the next thing I'm going to talk about in a minute. But yeah, this is just one of those that we saw. There was demand and just a need for a little bit more of an expansion of the art classes that we do. Honors World History. Okay, so this is, to most of our freshmen take a world history course their freshman year. And it is a 1-semester course. There's no honors option for that. And typically in every other year of high school, students have an option within the social studies for a more advanced course. So if their sophomore year, they can take pre-AP US history. Their junior year, they can take AP US history. Their senior year, they can take AP government. But we don't have that option their freshman year for like an honors class for those who are very interested in the social studies and maybe wanted to learn it at a higher level. So we are proposing this course. It will have an option for a dual credit. So as a freshman, you can get a dual credit world history. It is going to be a year-long course though, so that we can offer the dual credit. So it's just world history covers a lot of time. So there's plenty of more history that we're not covering that will not be covered.
Very good.
And that's the dual credit. The world history.
That's all of them.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Then is he just gonna stay up there? You might as well.
We've got one thing with the curriculum.
Okay.
And Mrs. Pennington's gonna speak to
All right.
that for Paige.
So the curriculum committee has met 2 times as a full committee. Cindy can probably speak to this a little bit as well. And really what they've been working on is going through, many different curriculums, narrowing down choices, taking all the survey data back from the staff, the information back from the staff. They're gonna meet one more time, and the hope is to bring a recommendation to the board after that next meeting. And so that's really where their current status is as a committee. Cindy, is there anything specifically sitting in those meetings you think would be important to share?
It's been really interesting to look at the curriculum, and they've had representatives from each curriculum to come, or each company to come and go through that. And I think that's been very helpful to break down what's in each curriculum. And it's kind of hard because there's some good ones out there, and you just want to make sure that you get what you want. If you want the individual like grammar and writing to be involved, it's been a good process. I've been very impressed.
Well, it's involved a lot of different stakeholders. So
Exactly.
a lot of teachers from all the buildings, special education, our English language services, parents.
Yeah,
community
there's
members.
several parents.
And
involved.
so it's, whatever we're gonna end up with has gone through a lot of different people and gone through a pretty thorough vetting process.
And we have to have 50% of the committee be parents.
Right.
As it is.
Mhm.
And so at least 50% of those people that are working on this are parents.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think the teachers in the buildings that have met separately from this curriculum meeting have, I think for the most part, felt like they're giving their input and, you know, their choice, what they'd like to be able to see in a program that they're going to be using. So I think it's been a good process.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions? All right, Mr. Hollinger, you're back up.
If I can give a quick note for the board on this, what Mr. Hollinger is proposing here tonight, it would be included within the student handbook next year. And if we look at it and feel like there are any adjustments to policy that we have to make, we may have to make some adjustments to policy in order to fit this proposal. So we wanted to get this, and I say included in the handbook for adoption later, but I'll let him work through kind of the timeline. But that's what we'll be looking at, and it doesn't necessarily require any kind of approval tonight, but if there were no questions and you felt comfortable with the direction, you could move forward with that. So just wanted to make sure that was clear, so.
Okay, so I'll try to just paraphrase this quick statement. Essentially, we think that it's very important for our students, even in their senior year, to have some sort of structured environment where they are working towards their future. It's been my observation in the 2 years I've been the principal at the high school that a lot of our seniors take the minimal amount of classes they can, and for a variety of reasons. It may be so that they can work, it may be so that they have more free time, maybe so they can just go play video games at home, right? There's lots of reasons to do that. Some better than others, I think. So that's something that, for the sake of these seniors, we want them to be, I guess, actively engaged in something, like I said, that will better them, better their opportunities in the future. We've toyed with how to do this. We've talked to what other districts are doing and talked to our staff and talked to parents, some students, and this is what we came up with. So beginning with the class of 2027, if you're in class of 2026, you're not off the hook exactly. So, but the class of 2027, so that's this year's current sophomores, we would like seniors to be enrolled in and pass a minimum of 5 courses during each semester of their senior year to be eligible to participate in the graduation ceremony. And then we clarify what we mean by those classes. So any accredited class from the MHS course catalog, if they're taking college courses or other career preparation courses, like they want to go take like a phlebotomy course or something like that, we would totally count that. They don't necessarily have to be on our campus for those ones, even though we have a lot of opportunities on the campus. But if you have something else going on that you can do and you're showing us that you're working on something again that improves your future, by all means, go do that. School release time courses. So that would be like work-based learning, apprenticeship releases, religious release. Only one of these release time courses may count towards the 5 course requirement though. We don't want students just to go do work release. Now, that's for the 5. If you want to go do work-based learning for other periods, that's fine too, because remember we have a 7-period day that they can take. So just to count for these 5, we say just one of these kind of release time classes where you're off the campus. Also effective that 2026, 2027 school year, we would only like students to be able to schedule a late start or early release periods. That's where they have no class assigned, 1st or 7th period. And the reasoning behind that is it helps our master schedule to be able to have certain course offerings spread throughout the day better. We can balance our schedule better. Right now, it's really hard to schedule any class that could possibly have seniors in it in the afternoon because seniors just aren't around. Or even in the morning, there's often seniors aren't there in the morning. So if there's like this nice sweet spot right now that we can do all these senior classes, but we kind of have to all cram them on, and then they overlap with each other and they cannibalize from each other. And so for the sake of our schedule and what we can offer all the students, that's part of why we want to only have 1st or 7th period as those release time classes or release time portions of their schedule. We understand that there will be special circumstances, that students may have something going on that would require them to not take the 5 courses, yet they still want to graduate or participate in graduation with us. And so we will take those in a case-by-case basis. Let's say there's a student who is on track to graduate and his family needs him to work just to support the family. And he comes to us and he explains the situation. We obviously work with a student like that. So we put wording in here to account for those special situations. But really we want just, again, to support them to be engaged in meaningful academic or career preparatory experiences. And then finally, the class of 2026. Originally, my thinking was, let's start this next year, in 2026. Based on a couple of changes that we're making in our master schedule, I'm worried that it'd be too much of a shock to our system and we wouldn't be able to offer everything that we need to do that. But we are still strongly encouraging you, the class of 2026, to take at least 5 classes during your senior year, even though it's not quite a strict requirement, okay? Zoe, I know you're a junior, so, okay, read this closely.
I think my child wouldn't like to see them. Go on.
Yeah, this is my favorite part probably. Those who wish to take fewer than 5 classes must submit a brief written essay explaining how their alternative schedule will contribute to their personal growth, future career goals, or overall preparedness for life after high school. Additionally, parental approval is required for any student seeking this exemption. So we will allow you to take a lighter schedule, but you have to explain to us why that's going to help you in the future. So that there's a bit of accountability on there for you to do the right thing that way.
Well, it's kind of just aligns with graduating early, right? Gotta write an essay for that too, so.
And if I can just make a note that the distinction between graduating and participating in the graduation ceremonies.
Sorry.
So
Yes.
this would not stop a student from graduating if they were determined to finish and just not take those courses. It only would prohibit them from participating in the graduation ceremonies. That's just kind of that carrot that you're dangling out there, so.
So that'll be interesting how you get that schedule to work.
Which schedule?
It seems like all the AP and all the are all lumped, and then there's good luck.
Yes, that'll help us if we can make it so it's.
That's an issue at our house.
7. Yeah, it's
It
hard
is.
to arrange that.
So,
But this is definitely a step in the right direction, because I'm concerned about how many seniors just aren't around much, and
Yeah.
that I don't think that unfortunately, there's a fair amount of them that aren't being as productive as they should be. So this is a great step in that right direction.
Yeah, there's a quote from Ben Franklin I heard the other day that I think kind of it like illustrates this point. He said, if you want something done, I hope I don't butcher this, but something along the lines of, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. There's just something about that momentum of like staying busy, staying active in something that just helps you be more productive yourself. Because I just worry about our seniors, they get in this habit of, oh, I finally can I'll take my 2 classes and go home all day, but then they have to like graduate and go on to the real world where they can't be that way, and it's just hard to get that momentum going again once you've stopped.
Absolutely.
Oh, I like it. It's accountability.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
All right, let's move on to the really fun stuff.
Yeah.
The bond proposal.
Awesome. Well, first, I just wanted to go over some of the feedback that we've been receiving. We had the documents from last month connected there, so everything that we kind of went through, I don't want to go through all of that unless you had any specific questions that have come up since reviewing that.
I appreciate it being on there.
But we did hold two different community engagement or community information nights. We held those at Mill Creek and Heights. Our first one at Mill Creek wasn't as well attended, but at Heights we did have quite a large group come to the meeting. Overwhelmingly, the people that have come have been positive about what we're presenting and some of the things, but we do see a couple of things, some questions that are some common questions that we're going to start making sure we're including in the different mailers and emails that we send out, social media posts that we post. Basically around two things. One is open enrollment, and the other is our the paying for the bond or paying for the school with impact fees. There's some concerns from our patrons on both of those counts. If it's all right, I'll just kind of go through that, how we try to answer that, just so that if anybody's watching the meeting, they can see that, and then we'll go on. But the first one with open enrollment, the question is, and the thought is, we have all these students that were over capacity in these schools, but we've got students from outside the district that are living here. If they weren't living here, maybe we wouldn't have this problem. Now, it wouldn't solve the whole problem because we're, 500-600 students over what we have capacity for, and there's only, 300 or so out of district students, but it would make a difference. But I wanted to kind of give a history of where we've been with that and where we're kind of stuck based on legislation. In 2021, this board and myself, we said we're not going to accept new out-of-district enrolling students. We wouldn't make the ones that are here leave, but we weren't going to accept any new because we knew we were going to try and pass a bond, and we knew that this was a concern. And so we just said, if you're, we're just not going to accept those. And even though we weren't sending them home, it was going to start extinguishing, and it would extinguish it quite quickly because it's top heavy, meaning more of our high school and middle school students are from out of district proportionally than in our elementaries. And so as a graduating class graduated, those students would leave and all of the out of district students would leave, and then there wouldn't be new ones at the kindergarten level replacing that number. So within the 2 years that, the first 2 years that we had implemented that policy, we went from 380 out-of-district students down just under 200. It was like 195 out-of-district students. Just in 2 years, we've been able to drop that number. But I do want to add, in those 2 years, while we were dropping those students, our overall enrollment was still going up because of the growth within the district. Then in 2023, the state legislature passed a law that required us to accept out-of-district students unless the school was over capacity or a grade level was over capacity. So we could look at that, but we weren't over capacity across the board in our district. So when we did that, we looked at Mill Creek. Mill Creek was over capacity as a school, so we could still deny any students there. Heights the same way. 3 different grade levels at Purple Sage have been over capacity, and we've denied if a student is coming in one of those grade levels. The 9th grade class at the high school is over capacity. So we've been denying new 9th graders since about November from the high school. But all of the other grades remain open. And so we've had to accept those students, which has resulted in, we're up to, what was it again? 298 open enrollment students right now. So I say that just, and this is something that we will try to communicate to our patrons as well, is that we were doing everything we could to lower that number overall, but we couldn't, once the law was passed, it would have been against the law for us to deny those students. So I think that's one thing and that is a message that we'll try to continue to portray within our community, make sure people understand we're trying, but we don't have the right to do that right now based on legislation. The second thing is the idea of paying for the elementary school with impact fees. And as you're aware, an impact fee is on new construction as it comes into, whether it's businesses, residential, homes, we charge an impact fee to help pay for infrastructure. So that can help pay for sewers, that can pay for roads, that can pay for lights, that can pay for, street lamps, sidewalks, all of those kind of things. But in state legislation, it specifically denies schools the ability to levy an impact fee. So even if we wanted to, we could not levy an impact fee against new developments. That is, it's not in code. And so if we did, we would be breaking the law, which obviously we don't want to do either. And so even though I can agree completely that it would be helpful if the developers were to do that, it's not something that we have control over. We have advocated to our local legislators, we've advocated to legislators outside of our local area, just to see if somebody would carry that, and so far nobody's been willing to carry that line, which all it would take is deleting 3 words from code, and we'd be able to levy those fees. But I think another piece is important for our community to understand is that even if we started today levying an impact fee, it wouldn't solve the problem that we have right now, because it could only be levied to new developments from today on, and it's going to take several years to build up the millions of dollars that would be required for the building of an elementary school. If we could go back in time and start it in like 2008, we probably would have enough now because of the growth that's happened in our community from 2008 until now. But that's just not something that we are able to do, obviously. And so even if we could start that and fix that today, we're so far behind on our capacity, it would be important that we still continue forward in finding ways to make this bond pass. And so I think that's something that's important for our community to understand as well.
By the way, I don't think there's any legislatures here tonight, is there?
Oh, I don't think so. But if they were, no, but and our legislators, when I reach out, they typically will try and respond, but to this date, we haven't been able to get them to carry that. I've got a meeting after this current legislative session with one of our legislators, and he's willing to have some initial conversations, and maybe we can get that rolling. I think it's something that it's worthwhile for us to continue to advocate for, but we're not the legislators, so we can't make that pass. So, any questions on those 2 things? There are other questions that come up, and we've been trying to field those, and we'll be creating a frequently asked questions within our website so that people can refer to that. But we are trying to get the information out as much as we can. We'll have a hard copy newsletter going out in early April ahead of the date that the absentee ballots are sent out. Absentee ballots will be sent out starting on April 10th through May 9th.
Mark,
Yeah, Jake.
quick clarification. Could you just share for a minute the difference between a supplemental levy and a bond? I think there's some confusion behind that.
Absolutely. So when we're looking for funding for schools, and we're asking a tax on our community, there are 3 different ways that you can do that. One is a supplemental levy. The second is a plant facility levy, and the third is a bond. So supplemental levy only requires a 50% majority to pass, but a supplemental levy can be used for anything. We have a supplemental levy right now that it's $1.5 million per year. And it goes for 2 years when a supplemental levy passes. We use that to help pay for curriculum, the curriculum adoption that we're talking about today, for one of our SRO positions, for a number of our classified positions, for several of our maintenance items.
And supplements athletics too. Right?
Yes, and some of the trips, extracurricular and travel, it helps to pay for some of those things. So we have that supplemental levy, but rarely is a supplemental levy high enough to be able to pay for the building of a school. In order to build a school, you actually have to have a bond because you have to secure the funding for that through the whole process. If we were to do a supplemental levy, it's only every 2 years, but we'd have to get the vote every 2 years to make that happen. And nobody's going to build us a school when the funds aren't guaranteed to be paid. So a bond allows the funds to be paid up front. We sell bonds, has investors essentially are purchasing those.
Asking for permission to go into debt.
Right, and so we're now in debt to that, and then the patrons agree to pay that back. And so bonds can only be used for buildings. We can't use bonds for paying salaries. I mean, salaries of staff. It's used to eventually pay. And it has to be for a specific project that is outlined. And that's what you're going to see within the language that bond, the ballot language and the resolution that you're going to be looking at tonight. That's the purpose, is to lay out all the particulars so that a patron that's looking into this and trying to decide whether they would vote for it would have all that information. A plant facility levy is similar to a bond. It's similar to a supplemental levy in that it pays out each year. But a plant facility levy is also only used for physical facilities. But again, you can't build a building because you don't secure all of the funds up front in order to make that happen.
And both levies only require a simple majority.
A plant facility can sometimes be higher depending on your level of indebtedness. Ours is low enough that we would be roughly at that 50% mark.
But Idaho is still one of the only a handful of states that require supermajority for a bond.
For a bond, that's correct. So we would need 66 2/3% of the patrons in our community to vote in favor in order for the bond to pass. Any other details, Jake, that you'd like to make sure we get out there?
No, I think that's fine. That's great. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions regarding the feedback that we got from the community meetings? Any other questions before we start talking about the bond language?
Well, that feedback's been very consistent for many years, and for some reason there's kind of some misinformation that always goes around. Like, we need to get these developers to pay for the schools.
Right.
Like, we can't do that. But the flyer I thought that we sent out, I thought was very good because it put a lot of things on just one piece of paper that you could see, and it had a lot of good information on that.
And we'll have one more of those that we'll send out from the district that will just have the information regarding the bond on it in early April.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And it goes to all households.
all households.
In our school
And
district.
if we ever find out that it's not, if you ever hear,
No,
let us know, because we
something.
want to make sure that we get the correct routes
Yeah.
taken care of.
That was
Yeah.
at that one meeting.
Especially with several zip codes.
Yeah.
It can be challenging to get it to everybody.
Any other thoughts or questions?
Thank you.
So the next item is one that will require an action on the part of the board. And this is how we would be able to put the bond material on the ballot, for May, I'm sorry. And so, we actually work with Holly Troxel, to create this, language, legal language, to make sure we do that. And, Brandon Helgeson from Holly Troxel is here tonight. And Brandon, do you mind taking the podium and maybe walking our board members through this language? And then if there's any specific questions, see ya, thank you.
Thank you.
If there's any specific questions you have regarding the language, Brandon's the perfect guy to ask.
Hello, Board of Trustees. I'm surprised people are leaving. This is the exciting part of the night. But my name is Brandon Helgeson. I'm an associate at Holly Troxel. I actually believe that when the district was running its bond back in early 2022, this is the first board meeting that I ever presented at after starting my career. So it's nice to be back. Thanks for having me back.
Good.
And so glad that you're trying again. So we drafted up the bond election resolution, and what it does is all essentially just signed, is laid out basically this bold or this capitalized title, but it calls for an election to be held. It denotes the form of the ballot that people will be voting on. It approves the form of the notice that the county clerk's going to publish regarding the election. It describes what the projects are, the amounts, the interest amounts, everything that's going to show up on the ballot. Provides that if 2/3 or 66 2/3 of people voting in the election vote in favor of it, then the district has the authority to issue bonds according to the terms that are on the ballot. And then provides at the very end that the district can levy a property tax in order to be the source of repayment for those bonds. So that's essentially what it does. I think the most important part and what everybody really cares about is the ballot language. And if you can scroll down to the ballot language if you'd like. But the ballot essentially does three things. It describes what, how much, and how long. So it describes the project itself, the constructing of a new elementary school. We throw a bunch of additional language in there just to make sure all the bases are covered, so nobody could say, hey, you didn't say that on the ballot, that you could do site work for the elementary school. So we include things like that. Then describe the term of the bond, so it's for 20 years. And then all of this language, these last three paragraphs right before the yes or no portion is all required by state law, but it just basically describes the financial impact of the bond. So it gives the interest rate, the interest repayment amount, the total repayment amount, how long the bond goes for. It gives an estimated annual average tax impact for homes per $100,000 of taxable assessed value. So that takes into account homeowners exemption. And then lastly, just describes the outstanding indebtedness of the district. So that essentially covers, I think, the most important parts of the ballot. But if you have any questions at all, I'd be happy to answer them.
There's language from that we will be, now that we're having this meeting, we'll be required to place on any message that we send out from the district. Now, if there's a community group, they're not held to that same thing, but any message that we send out as a district, social media, the hard copy newsletter that we talked about, emails out, that letters that are referring to this bond and giving information have to have, and there's a certain portion of this language that Brandon's also helped us with to get that we have to have in there according to state law. So we will be doing that as soon as this. We'll pull anything that doesn't have it on there and replace it with those others.
Of course, the big change from the last one is last time we were asking for almost 50 million.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a little lower now.
Yeah, that's a huge change. Is there any other change that we should be aware of from that first one that you did?
No, well, I would say you might remember the ballot language last time was a little bit longer. And that's because, state laws changed a lot recently. They keep tinkering with this financial information that you include on the bond. on the ballot itself. And so, you used to be able to talk a little bit more about what the tax impact is instead of just saying it's gonna be 34 per $100,000. School districts used to have a little bit of leeway to say, well, we're paying off bonds the following year, so we're gonna have a huge drop in property taxes. So the net's gonna be, maybe 15 instead of 34 because we're about to pay off a bond, or in the case of the school or the House Bill 292, the school district facilities funds that go towards offsetting the district's levies, you could before say, here's the tax impact, but this money we get from the state every year is required to go towards the bonds first. So actually the tax impact is gonna be more like this. And, the legislature's gotten more and more strict. They don't really want you talking more on the ballot. And so this is basically all you're allowed to say. It's required, and you're not allowed to talk about more on the ballot. You're allowed to talk about all that in your informational campaign. You're allowed to explain that to the community. But just on the ballot, this is basically what it's gotta be. And then Superintendent Gee basically hit the other biggest thing, which is that now that all that financial information, those last 3 paragraphs are required to go on all information that the district sends out. And so with some pretty steep penalties if you don't. Basically, it's the same thing as if you didn't have it on the ballot at all. So it's just more hoops to jump through, I would say.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Of course, in our situation, that like you alluded to, our other bond is gonna be paid off here pretty soon. And plus, there's all these other factors where we keep adding so much more to our tax base, so that hopefully will keep pushing people's taxes down.
Well, and the property tax relief bills that have been going on, those are gonna be pushing that down. And I think that's something that as we have these information meetings, it's an opportunity for us to share those kind of things. But even if you look at just the straight amount of that $34 per 100,000, that represents a 79% decrease from the last bond that we ran in terms of total impact on our taxpayers. And I think that's something that you as a board instructed me as we were working through this whole process is we've got to get that amount down. And I think I don't know of a district that's got that low payment in terms of building a new elementary school when they have to go to the taxpayers for it. So it's a good opportunity, I believe, for our community and for us right now because of kind of a lot of different pieces converging to make that. But there's going to be property tax relief that will have an impact on that for sure.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it.
All right.
So any other questions on that? Okay, so there will be an action item later that speaks specifically to that resolution.
Very good. Yep, I'm going to. Before we go into policy, those of you that are here, I think we might have some state champions in this room. Is there a state champion in this room?
Looking back there.
Please stand up. We might just have you come next time. So be prepared. Yeah. Students, you are excused, but you need to get your agenda signed, please.
All right.
Unless you want to stay for policy. That is why I'm letting you go.
Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good job.
Bet.
Way to go, congratulations.
Hey, Johnny, I'll give you an update.
You bet.
I got
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Hello, Carolyn. How are you?
Right.
There you go.
There you go.
I'm gonna sign on the front.
Yes.
I'm forwarded that award that Johnny was
Oh,
talking about, so you can see it.
thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate
I
that.
didn't think about it at the time.
I knew that was-
Sent him and Bobby a copy, but then I thought you'd.
I appreciate that. I'll share it with the board.
Sorry,
Thank you.
I know they haven't been here the last, they weren't at city council either.
Oh,
No.
she's almost going out of town, maybe.
I think they're still working on it because of that one, and so I think.
Okay, where are we at? Are we,
Yeah, I know they're working on it.
We just got a couple words printed off.
oh, you're good.
I talked to you last time.
Yeah, we just didn't have time to put it on the agenda this time, but we'll get it on there for April. All right?
That's what I was
Did you
wondering.
get your agenda signed?
Yeah.
I signed it.
Perfect.
We didn't talk about the name first.
Oh, I
I
don't know.
wonder what he wants to call it.
Which one?
The medical assistant course.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. We-
Thank you.
That. I think there was still some that she planned on bringing next month.
Okay, we can bring him in April.
Would that be okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
we can do it.
We haven't totally gone into policy. If you wanna,
Well, because Chris was supposed to talk about it when the shit kept.
Oh, that's right.
Me to page,
yeah,
and I think we were supposed to bring it up, but I was expecting.
It was one more
we can
course
go
request.
revisit and it was just gonna be,
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
but we weren't gonna amend it. We
We
were
weren't
just gonna put
amending
it in
the
our
agenda
commercial.
anyway.
So if you want,
that would be great.
Yeah.
you are
Chris was
welcome to
actually,
get up.
that's why Chris was here.
Yes, we're gonna go back and revisit
Do you have her document?
blind
It's not, no.
Okay.
item C. So go ahead.
So I've been working with Stacy Kastner a lot to, bring in this medical assistant.
Really quick, would you introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Christine. I'm the assistant principal at the academy.
Okay.
We've been working to bring a medical assisting career pathway to both the high school and the academy. This pathway has, at our school, it's a little different than the high school, but 1 quarter at our school, because we do a semester and a quarter, of foundations of health professions and 1 quarter of medical terminology. And we've been able to offer that so far this year at the academy. Then what we'd like to add moving forward is a full semester, so 2 of our quarters, of internal medical assisting and then a capstone of medical assisting. This would allow our seniors to graduate with, potentially if they pass the test, a certification to be a medical assistant. So far we've successfully integrated the L1 classes, both at the high school and the academy. Stacy and I both applied for the pathway for the state. We should know next month if we are approved. And we wrote up a Blue Cross grant for funding. We have researched the National Healthcare Association curriculum as a possible option to support this. It also comes with the testing capabilities. Our ultimate goal, like big pie in the sky, is students are allowed to stack certifications. So not only could they be a certified medical assistant, but they could add on EKG and phlebotomy and other medical administration. And anything we can do to give our kids like a head start when they graduate is amazing and awesome. And then, you know, looking at the need for this, the medical world is gonna blow up in the next several years. I have all kinds of fun statistics.
It's like it hasn't already.
I know. 24% in Idaho is what they're projecting in the next 10 years of growth. They also, the program that we were looking at comes with it's called Personability. And it's these modules that are teaching the kids how to respond to like a difficult patient or some challenges where people are upset and not feeling good. And that provides 9 hours of continuing education. And once a student is certified, they only need 10 hours of continued learning to renew that certification. So with that program, we can already have them 9 of the 10 hours through. And then all students can test within 12 months of graduation. So especially at the academy, where we are often junior and senior heavy, we could still fast track them through this program in just 2 years and have them leave with those certifications.
That is really good.
Is there a dual credit type situation where we're able to grab some stuff that would carry over to local colleges?
He would
Is there a dual credit?
Yeah.
With CWI?
We'll have to look into that. I know that there is at CWI. I don't know how it pairs with this other curriculum we looked at, but.
Perfect.
Imagine.
Did you hear that, Jake?
Outstanding. Yes. Excited to see these.
Thank you.
Kind of classes.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your flexibility.
Yeah, you bet. As you leave, will you take that door?
All right, we will move on to policy.
Okay, so for first reading tonight, we're bringing before you policy 3090, the foreign exchange students policy. And really, this is coming before you, there was a recommendation in our conversation with MEA that we needed to review the deadlines in this policy and have some conversations around that. And so we're having those conversations, we're collaborating with individuals and figuring out what we want the deadlines to look like to make sure that our processes match what our policy says.
And it's really making it more flexible, so that when we see a need, let's say that we haven't met the full percentage that we agreed that we would allow for within the foreign exchange program, that if, let's say the deadline right now is in April, according to our policy, we shouldn't be accepting anything in June. But sometimes if we're not full, it would be advantageous for us to be able to take advantage of that student coming in who wants to come in June and is finally able to get that work through. So those are the types of deadlines that
So we just need
we're.
to take off the wording and just say until full.
Well, right, and we're just wanting to make sure that whatever we do doesn't hamper their ability at the high school to manage the program
Gotcha,
appropriately. So it's the balance between those.
gotcha.
But we'll come with the specific things, but you have.
Didn't we do another foreign exchange? Was that on the amount?
Yes.
The
The
number?
amount.
And
The
just
number.
the amount
Okay.
of students too.
So this is different?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't think that you could be a foreign exchange student and be 18 or over. I thought you had to be under 18 to be a foreign exchange student, but
Well, and it is right here, 18 years or younger.
or younger, yeah, I thought you had.
You just
to
can't be
younger.
over 18.
Okay. That's interesting.
And that's simply similar to what we have in terms of the students that are here. We'll often have students turn 18 in their senior year.
Mhm.
So it's trying to be
Right.
consistent there.
I see. I think it's just the policy, but probably what I heard in some of the foreign exchange companies that do that, they want to make sure that they're 16 or 17, some of them.
Oh,
that,
Some of their own
Yeah,
policies.
their policies, right.
So with this being the first reading, you're still gonna meet and
Yes.
discuss?
And then we'll
within
bring a recommendation back to you next month
your- Okay.
as far as what we believe that those deadlines should be.
And I guess there's interesting visa certification or requirements, and I wonder how our policy, how it has to mesh with whatever the United States visa policies are.
Yeah, and typically we let the organization that's bringing the student in manage all of the visa, and we don't do much of the work with that, other than providing information that they see.
Okay, well, that's good. We don't have to worry about that stuff, yeah.
So your recommendation to move to a second?
Yes, please.
All right, I would entertain a motion for that.
I move that we move the policy on foreign exchange students to a second reading,
Will you say the number of the policy?
3090.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye? Thank you, Jake. Don't sound so excited. This is the best part of the meeting. All right, Mrs. Pennington.
Wait a minute, I thought Brandon said his part was the best.
Okay, yours is the part, sorry.
Going into our second reading, so the series that's policy 9010 and then PR1, PR2, PR3, and PR4. Our recommendation would be to table these until next month and not move forward. There's just quite a bit of work that still needs to happen on those, and we didn't feel like that we were able to make the changes to get it ready for a second reading for this meeting. So we'd like to table it and then come back next
Okay.
month.
And so there are no changes that you would see in those right now.
No, not at this point. I just didn't get to read it all.
Well, you get a whole month.
Yeah. So that would be the first half, and then these second half of those readings, 7050 P1, 7050. We do have the recommendation of the change of the monetary value in those policies, and so you'll see that those changes have been made to align with code and with ISBA recommendations as well. And so it really was the change from the 25,000 to the 50,000 is really what triggers that process.
Okay.
And then the policy 8070, 8220P, 8220, and then 8243, there have been no recommended changes from first reading to second reading. And those, along with the 7050 P1 and 7050, we would recommend moving all of those into policy. We feel like they're at a spot with the changes that have been made that we can go ahead and make that recommendation into policy.
Okay. Didn't we remove 2305 last meeting?
We did, yeah.
And so that just
Yeah.
needs to be struck from.
Okay. Swap that.
So that was for HIJK that we moved to policy?
Yeah.
Did I understand that?
F and G,
Oh, F and G.
HIJK, all of those we feel are at a spot that we can move into policy.
Okay.
So with all the handwriting that was on the purchasing and bidding
Yeah,
scenario, that'll be changed?
those will be changed
Yeah.
to what is written in the handwriting.
Yeah.
So I just have a question. On the bottom of many of these policies, the dates that are listed, I like adopted in 03, revised 04, 06, and 15, but after we're done saying this, that's when it comes to
Correct.
2025?
Yeah, not
Okay.
until you've actually moved it to policy do we change those.
Okay,
So if you make the recommendation to move it tonight, we would add the date of 3/10/25, and then when Gina posts the final on assembly, it would then reflect that.
okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? So all the 90/10s will be tabled,
Yes, please.
and all of the 82 whatevers go to policy.
Yeah.
And those are all the food service
Okay,
policies.
so F through K is according to my,
You don't have a vote recorded for this?
to remove it?
Okay, so let's go ahead and add in the motion tonight, the removal of the policy. Let's include that.
Okay,
20.
Yeah, so we have that
2305.
official motion on the notes.
thanks, Gina.
Okay,
Okay, so here we go. Did you guys get all the ones that we're tabling?
So there's probably 3 motions.
okay.
Yes.
Tabling, moving to
Remove and
policy and
policy,
remove.
yeah, yep,
So we already did the foreign exchange.
yes.
Correct.
Okay,
We need to table A through E.
all right. I move that we table policies 9010 PR1, 9010 PR2, 9010 PR3, and 9010 PR4, as well as 9010, just 9010, for later discussion.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 I'll go ahead and make a motion that we adopt policy 7050P1, policy 7050, policy 8070, policy 8220P, policy 8220, and policy 8243.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
All right,
Aye. Last one.
I move that we remove policy 2305.
second.
All those in favor say aye.
All right,
Aye. All right, let's move on to trips. I would entertain a motion to approve or deny the DECA International Career Development Conference in Orlando, Florida.
I move that we approve the DECA International Career Development Conference in Florida.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
All right,
Aye.
Aye.
I move that we approve the innovation diploma class in California.
A second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 I move that we approve the FFA State Leadership Conference in Twin Falls.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 I move that we approve the MHS Drama Club trip to Pocatello, Idaho.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. But only
Aye.
if they like take something and tie the shoes of the girls' basketball team together.
And the FCCLA.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, FCC.
I would entertain a motion to approve the FCCLA field trip. California
Competition to Boise.
to Boise. Jump. That's right.
I move that we approve the FCCLA competition in Boise.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Guess you can do them all.
Course
at once.
requests as
As presented.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's fine. I move that we approve the course requests, new course requests as presented.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 I move that the board adopts the bond election resolution titled, bond election resolution. Which reads, a resolution calling a special election to be held for the purpose of submitting to the qualified electors of School District Number 134, Canyon County, State of Idaho, a proposition relating to the issuance of up to $19,900,000 as a general obligation school bonds of School District Number 134, Canyon County, State of Idaho, and in providing for the issuance of such bonds, the levy of a tax to pay such bonds.
Second.
Doesn't sound right.
Yep, we're good.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All right. Onward we move.
Okay, and I will get that passed over to Canyon County this week, and Brandon will just be in touch to make sure
Perfect.
with Alicia to make sure that we get that where we need to be.
Oh, I thought you guys were gonna get to talk today.
You said enough.
Read all this.
It's okay. You've been useful.
Pretend to be helpful.
We'll let Jay make a motion for the next thing on there. You gotta read everything right there on number 10.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you guys.
guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Have a good night. I move that pursuant to Idaho Code 74-206, paren 1, paren
Thank
B,
you.
Idaho Code, to consider the evaluation, dismissal, or disciplining, or to hear complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent.
Second.
We're just heading into executive session.
All right.
Speaker.
Go ahead.
Trustee Dempsey,
Yes.
trustee Wagner,
Yes,
trustee Powell,
Yes.
trustee Clark,
Yes.
and
trustee Moore,
All right.
okay.
All right, let me get the door and then we'll